Hello everybody, how's it going? In today's video, we're going to be covering how to build my very own original bartering farm design. Now, some things of note before we get to the build. First thing of note about this farm is that this farm will use 8 piglins to do all the gold trading. And that is to make the item storage a lot more manageable. You might be able to take a gander from other bartering farm designs, and that is if you go big with the piglin count, your item storage needs to match that. And so in an effort to avoid 10 billion hoppers and chests, we're going for 8 piglins. That's right, child. 8. It should go without saying, this farm will require you to bring your own gold to fill it. But I also have a farm design for that as well. In fact, this bartering farm fits perfectly underneath my gold farm design I've covered previously. So if you're interested in that, there will be a link in the description below. I'll also include a link to a schematic file for this bartering farm as well. One thing that some might find a little disappointing, but I think you'll find it also understandable, that we will not be storing ender pearls, the enchanted iron boots, all the potion stuff, the water bottles and the fire resistant potions, or the soul speed books. Of course, yes, you can potentially filter these out, but I won't be covering how to build those filters in this video. But there's nothing stopping you from figuring out one of those filters and then adding it to the end of the storage that we're going to build in this tutorial. But that is going to be a you project. Blah, blah, blah. Get on with the build. Well, firstly, here is the item list. Gaze upon it. Pause if you must. I'm going to go over a few things that you might want to know. These stone bricks, these can be any building block that you want. So any variation. Make it pretty if you want. Or color code things. However you do. Also, these oak leaves, the 14, they can be any leaf, and they can be actually any immovable object as far as slime goes. So obsidian or the glazed terracottas, all those blocks also could work. So whatever you'd like. Buttons can be of any button type, but the blackstone kind of looks cool. And as I said before, we're going to need 8 piglins. So that also includes 8 name tags. Technically, they will eventually put on boots that they eventually drop. So, you might be able to actually get away without the name tags, but just bring some name tags just in case. Better safe than sorry. You should bring a handful of torches just to light things up, so nothing spawns on the track, but this design I actually just use a minimum of 2. Also, you'll want a block, some blocks and or scaffolding so that you can get up to the gold input. And as it should go without saying, but if you want more storage, we're going to be building the minimum amount of storage plus a little extra overflow for each item. But bring more chests and hoppers if you think you're going to want more. So for minimum item filter amount, we're going to be doing 3 iron nugget filters, 3 gravel filters, 2 blackstone filters, 2 spectral arrow filters, and 2 nether quartz filters. Everything else can get just 1 filter, honestly. I find this to be the minimum amount, otherwise you start losing a bunch of items, and that's not cool. So, of course, build more if you like, but don't build less. I don't recommend it. So first things first, we're going to take out some scaffolding, some garbage blocks. These will be taken down later, but build up 5 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to climb up to the top of our scaffolding, and then off the side of the scaffolding, we're going to place a packed ice. We're going to build 2 more packed ice over, and then on both sides of this little strip here, put down leaf blocks. We got our ice strip here. and leaf blocks on both sides. So on the far right side, we're gonna go over one more leaf block. And then now what we need to do is essentially build a containment unit around this point right here. Our piglins are going to be standing right here later on. So what we're doing here is 2 leaf blocks on the left and right, and then a slime block on the far side there. You'll also want to put another slime block. You can actually put another leaf block right there. That'll need to be there eventually. And then so now what we're going to do is we're going to expand our scaffolding here just to be a little bit more easy to work with. So we're going to wrap around the corner back behind our slime block here. We can actually put a sticky piston right there, and then make sure the head is, of course, touching the slime block. Jumping up and around around the sticky piston we just put. You can put a stone block there. Now, off of the stone block there, we could just do kind of like an L shape, just right around this leaf block here. And then what we can also do is put a temporary block down, and then kind of similar to what we were doing before, sticky piston, the head of the piston facing slime block. So now that we're this far, what we're gonna do is right next to the sticky piston we just placed, we're gonna go back farther 2 more blocks, and then what you can do is take this and alongside both these blocks here, we're gonna go out 5, so a total of 10 blocks. So we just went out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then kind of similar on the other side, we can do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then don't need to go out 5, we just need 1 block going up like so. All right, so now you're gonna bring out 1 comparator and basically all your repeaters. Well, not all of them, but just about. Because now we're building our timer. So 1 comparator down, facing out from that 1 weird block we just last placed. And then you're gonna switch that on, so the light's on. Now what you're gonna do is just lay down a bunch of repeaters. So we're gonna go out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 repeaters. We're gonna leave these spaces here for redstone dust, so we just do like kind of a little L shape. And then basically just bring all the repeaters down here, except for this last block is also going to be a piece of redstone dust. Now you're not done yet, because now flick all these repeaters so that the lever is all the way back, like so. This is the perfect timing for this machine. Perfect, I tell you. Okay, so now we're also going to power our slime block launchers. So what you're going to want to do is put a redstone repeater facing into the piston at 2 ticks. So 1 click on the repeater there. Same for both sides. But then on the first sticky piston that we placed earlier, the one closest to your scaffolding, another repeater at 3 ticks. So it's got 1 click left. You could put a piece of redstone dust right there. And then what we're also gonna do is bring out your building blocks. You're gonna place 2 right there, so it's kind of right next to our redstone L from before. We're gonna bring out the redstone dust, extend it over those blocks, and then put an observer down. So this observer will be powering those 2 slime block launchers. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna use our scaffolding here as a temporary block. We're gonna build it up 2 right on top of that slime block there. So we can use that to put our dropper that's facing downward. Make sure that hole is facing downward there, right over the top of that leaf block. Now 2 blocks away from that, so right on top of this repeater here, diagonal of this sticky piston, we're going to have a observer facing it so its butt is up in the air. Now what we could do is take our leaf blocks and we're going to just kind of fill this in like so. Make sure this space is open because that's where the gold's going to get dropped. We can also kind of do the same thing over here. That's where the piglins are going to stand later. Alright, so now right on top of the observer's butt, we're going to put a solid block with a redstone torch facing towards the dropper there. We just heard the click. So now what we could do is put a block right on top of the torch and then a piece of redstone dust on top of the block that the redstone torch is attached to. It's going to flash and then burn out, and then it's going to stay burned out. And this is exactly what we want. So later on, when we power our timer, every 6 seconds approximately, this observer will update the redstone torch burnout clock. So every 6 seconds, we'll be flashing this dropper 8 times, meaning we drop exactly 8 gold for our 8 piglins. You can actually test this, which you might want to. You just put a lever on top of this block here and power it. And so every time the redstone line updates past that observer, you should get a flash. And of course your slime block launchers actually should go as well. Now this is one of those things that you can do pretty much however you want. But to fill the dropper with gold, I'm just hooking up 1 double chest and 1 hopper. That seems to do it, but of course, chain this as far and as wide as you want. Okay, so we got all that business taken care of, so now we're going to go back to our ice path and finish it off over here. So I'm going to start from the middle block here, and just some temporary blocks. Go out 2 blocks. You can remove those. Put a tripwire hook right there. And, oh, I guess shouldn't have removed that. Same thing on the other side. 2 blocks and then tripwire hook. And you might as well just put a piece of string right there. Now we're going to go off the side of the path a little further down. Just go out 2 blocks like so. And then what we'll do is a repeater here set to 2 ticks. And then what we're going to do is use that repeater to place our sticky piston. And oh, look at that. Every time something or somebody goes through the string, the piston goes off. So then we're also going to put a slime block down. And lastly, we just need a temporary block right here. We need to stick a double chest right on the other side of the leaf block. Okay, so now off of the side of the leaf block with our double chest next to it, place the rest of your packed ice down. That should be 21 blocks, but of course, take it further if you want. And then at the end of your ice path, put your soul sand down. I guess you could light the fire right now if you want, but you're going to want a fire on top of that. Okay, at this point, we're pretty much finished with the nasty stuff about the farm. I did forget 1 leaf block, though, so right next to our 2 slime block friends there, 1 leaf block right there. Now, at some point, you're going to need to put your 8 piglins down here. You can do that now, you can do that later. I'm not going to show you how to do it, because there's lots of different ways you can get it done, but right in here is where your piglins need to go. All 8 of them, name tagged, of course. And before we get too carried away, what you should do is spawn proof all your blocks, and that's pretty much exactly what all these buttons are here for. So we're going to lay down all these buttons along the ice, just like so. You can take your 2 torches, put them right above where the tripwire hooks go, and then every other flat surface that really doesn't have anything going on for it, put down a button. Just to be safe, just to be safe. Okay, so I went ahead and built the chamber with our piglin friends. And so lastly, of course, we're going to want to put a leaf block right above their head. So now for everybody's favorite part, the storage system. So if you've watched the gold farm tutorial, this is exactly the same, so you should be able to figure it out pretty quickly. But if not, if you're new here, that's just fine. We're going to go over it in exhaustive detail, so you should be able to figure this out pretty quickly. So first things first. We're doing one slice at a time, meaning starting right here, so that's from the leaf block, 2 blocks, right, that third ice block over. That's where we're starting our filters. Every other ice block along here is going to have the same slice. So you can do this one at a time. You can try to mass produce this. If it's your first time, I suggest doing it one at a time, just in case. You don't want to get too ahead of yourself there. So what I've done here is we're going to start with one hopper facing down into a double chest, and that's right below the ice road there. So the hopper's top is right underneath the ice there. So then right alongside of it, we're going to have a hopper facing into the double chest. Right above said hopper, we're going to have that one facing into that first hopper that we were talking about. So their tails are facing into the chest and that hopper there. And then this topmost hopper is facing down. You can see its little tail there, facing down into the hopper below. Okay, so now what I've gone ahead here and done is off of the middle hopper here, 3 blocks out, and then just below it, we're kind of doing like I call it a plus sign, but that doesn't really make sense. With the inside hollowed out there. It's pretty standard storage system design here. So on the top, what we're going to do is comparator and 3 redstone dust going down the slope there. Now in this middle gap that we left open, repeater facing forward towards our hoppers. And then on this block right here that the repeater is facing into, redstone torch. Our filter is now ready to be set. Follow along with me here. I think this is the part that most people get confused about, is how to set up said filter. So I'm going to just start off the top here. It's easy to go off of the top of the filter, I find. We're going to face into that middle hopper. It's just the one right down below there. We're going to open it up. So I've got 2 items here, filter 1, filter 2. You don't necessarily need to name them. They could be anything that's not going to be going through this farm. But naming them kind of keeps it simple for you. So I'm going to take filter 2, because this is our second filter, the one right down below. And we're going to fill these last 4 slots. If you did everything right before, nothing should get sucked through. This is a powered hopper, so everything should just stay the same. We're setting up iron, so I'm going to put 64 iron nuggets in that first slot. And again, nothing's going to get sucked out. Alright, so now we're going to go to the hopper right above it. And we're going to set up filter 1. We're going to put in 4 of the filter items in there, and you can notice the comparator, it lit up. It's starting to take action there. And then what you could do is, what it wants is 40 iron nuggets, but just to prove everything works, you could just put in another stack. And then at double hopper speed, it should go drain down to about 40. Sometimes it drains to 41, but there you go. And then of course, in the box is the remaining items. And that is your basics on the item storage system. So now what you could do from here is just chain chests and hoppers off of this topmost chest. And then so now this is just kind of like just mass storage. And then of course, take that as far as you want to go. Now repeat that like 10 billion times for all the items. And just a reminder, you're gonna want 3 iron filters, 3 gravel filters, 2 blackstone, 2 spectral arrow, 2 nether quartz, and then 1 filter for the rest. Minimum storage, this is what it looks like. I didn't include the item frames in the item list, but, you know, just for your visual aid. And there you have it. Your farm is basically done. We got to hook up an on and off switch, though. So, that's where our last bits are going to go. We're going to start off in the back here, right beneath that funny block that the comparator is facing out of. We're going to put 1 block right underneath it, leaving a gap there. And then from here, we're going to step down 3 times. So there's kind of, yeah, 3 steps right there. And then we're going to go out towards the chests 3 blocks. Now from here, we can actually go 2 more blocks. These are just temporary though. Put your redstone lamp there. You can remove those 2. And then what we're going to do is put a lever on the front of it. So yeah, we get interactivity with our on and off switch. And then a redstone torch off of the back. Now on top of all of our stone here, we're going to put a redstone line. It should be powered, of course. And then at the very top, with that first block we placed, a redstone torch. I guess that's going to make it go off, but that's a good sign. You should start to hear all of the, oh, gosh darn it. You can flick it on, the light will turn on. All the redstone in the back will go off. And then every so often, gold will be dispensed to our piglins. And the items shot down and put into the correct item filters. And for your last bit, you're gonna need to be able to fill that last chest. So that's what the glass and the scaffolding was in the box for. You just need to be able to reach that chest. Ladders, scaffolding, however you like. But there you have it, everybody. The Bare Buns original Piglin Bartering Farm in the flesh, or the brick, rather. Alright, well, I hope this all works out for you. Let me know down in the comments how awesome that you think it is, and how many friends of yours said, ooh, and oh. I want to know. Alright, until next time, everybody, enjoy. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again. Ta-ta for now. Ta-ta. Bye-bye.